You have the scene where she's on the phone with him, and who was you all hugged up with? And you look at the picture of her speaking on the phone, and here it is, a guy laying in the bed with her, but she's going crazy after Craig.
Right.
And the thing is, a part of him wrapping up the movie, like I said, he wrapped up every loose end to this movie.
Yeah.
Is him saying on the phone, like, I don't know why you mess with me either.
Right.
It's over. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of that growing process where it's like, yo, man, I done did something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm worth more. You know what I mean? And that's something. I mean, Ice Cube made a lot of points here. That is something that a young man at some point has to make a decision about.
Right.
Am I worth more? Not just than this woman.
Right.
Not am I worth more than getting high every day? Am I worth more than drinking every day? Am I worth more than being unemployed?
Bam.
And that makes a difference in your life.
Huge difference.
So here we are. One thing I wanted to point out, that this was part of, because we had a few movies in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s that were weed movies.
Yeah.
Right?
That when you read that earlier, they called it a stoner movie, I wasn't exactly...
Well, see, this is the thing.
Yeah.
A lot of those movies from that time, they were weed movies.
Yeah.
But they were anti-weed.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
All of the horrible things that's happening to him.
Right.
Is because of weed.
Right.
Right? But you see a lot of smoking, you see a lot of getting high and stuff like that.
Smoking in a chicken coop.
Half Baked is the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really until you got to like something like How High, where it was like, it was kind of a pro weed movie where they're saying like, no, nothing bad happens to you and all that kind of stuff, whatever you feel about, whatever side you on about that.
Right.
But that's one thing I saw with this movie is that it fit right into that genre of the weed movie that is anti-weed.
Gotcha.
Right. Now, we never remember that part.
Yeah. Because you remember the smoky part. That's the part that helps you. Like, man, maybe I shouldn't just take weed from anybody.
Right. Oh,
if that's your takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't smoked weed at that point in my life, and I remember I was walking out of there like, no, dope is for dopes.
Right.
And then college came.
Right.
But so I think that's a really interesting part to it. Now, I want to get to the fight with Debo. Give me your take on that scene, because that part to me, that's like the heart.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It showed character development, like you said. It showed the growth of Craig in the movie, because when his father stopped him when he had the gun, he could have still said, well, that's him. This cat is big. I'm not going to go out there without nothing. So, I mean, it showed the growth of him to, number one, to listen to his father, and to, number two, believe that he had reached a level where getting beat down wouldn't be the worst thing that could possibly happen. Right. He had matured to a level where he realized, I could get beat down fighting this dude, but this is worth the fight, because he pushed down Nia Long's character, and it was worth Debbie. Was it Debbie?
Yeah,
Debbie. It was worth defending her, which is I think a mature. Yeah, it's a mature moment where you decide the people around me are worth more. I'm worth more than killing this guy for no reason versus defending the honor of someone he's interested in.
And I really like the one, and that's the thing I understand now, looking at it, as, I guess I'm more of the John Witherspoon than I am a Craig nowadays. Yeah. Which is like, hey, man, that's one thing that's the problem with kids and people right now. Everybody afraid of ass whooping. Yeah. At the end of the day, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some, brother. Right. But you live to fight again. You know what I mean? I always thought to myself, what's the fun in killing somebody when you can whoop their ass and talk shit to them the rest of their life? Right.
And 9 times out of 10, most of the fights that you got in when you was younger, you ended up being friends anyway.
Yeah, it ended up being,
over something dumb,
stupid, and ridiculous.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's the one thing that I really liked about this, is how every character had some kind of like set of rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ezel, you know, I don't kill.
Right.
Red, like, yo, man, my man, hey, my grandma gave me that chain, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, Smokey, man, this part caught me way off guard.
Okay.
And I think this was a big message, you know, in the movie is the first time they come to Smokey's house. Mm-hmm. And his mother, who is obviously unemployed, you know, sitting there talking on the phone, she's still in her pajamas.
Right.
You know, it's you know, like midday by this time.
Right.
And they're walking into the room, and he looks at her and he says, "Yo, cook, clean up, do something."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, man, that's real, dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you see the difference in the characters coming from different homes like that. And I'm not, oh God, please don't send me questions and scathing reports to the Riz Pod at yahoo.com. Questions, concerns, anything. The Riz Pod, TheRizPod at yahoo.com. Please don't send me stuff saying you beating up on single mothers. No, I'm not beating up on single mothers or single fathers. I'm beating up on parents who don't do shit.
Right.
If you sit on your ass all day, your kid will get involved into things like what Smokey got himself involved into.
Yeah.
You know, and I like the part where John Witherspoon said, "Get out of my house, dog. You always got some shit." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I done had to throw some of my son's friends out like, "Dog, I don't even like what you be bringing over here, dog.
Right.
Dog, just stay away from my crib, dog."
Yeah.
You know, and then my son loves them there. They're friends and they're but yo, brother,
not here,
dog.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna end up getting my boy messed up, and then everybody got to die.
Right. That's how it goes.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's just, man, point after point after point. So here we are. We are at like we're getting close to the end of the film, right? Mm-hmm. They've already been shot at
by Big Worm people.
Big Worm. Craig fights Debo. Wins the fight. Boom. Ice Cube starts wrapping this thing up. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
It's clean.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, man. You don't see this with a lot of black films. And I know it's because I know it's funding. I know it's the fact that we have to we don't get so many films that we got to deal with so many things at once to make sure. I see that a lot with Spike Lee movies where he got to put so many things in there. Jungle Fever is about interracial, but it's also about crack, but it's also about being too strict as parents, but it's also about forgiveness, but it's also about nuclear families, but it's also about
so many messages.
You see what I'm saying? But we have to put so many things. I don't know when you're gonna get the next budget and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the dude starts wrapping things up. Debbie invites him to the house in the morning.
Right.
All right. First of all, Chris Tucker, Smokey gets the 200.
Yep.
All right. Off of Debo, who had got beat up. Red gets the chain and the bike.
And the bike, that's the key.
Right, gets to roll out with everything and stole off on Debo.
Right.
So he settles that. You see what I'm saying? Then now we go into the everybody's going to sleep, all this kind of stuff.
Right.
Craig walks past his sister's room. He says goodnight to his mom. She said, "Good night, baby." I also like during the fight how they are trying to get him not to shoot Debo. Right. But then when he start getting his ass whooped, his mom is like, and she's trying to shoot Debo.
I think that's how it goes.
He's not fighting fair. So he says goodnight to his mom. His dad says, get into here, come into the bathroom, right? And I remember being a teenager thinking how disgusting it was that his dad would call him in the bathroom.
Yeah, man.
But guess what?
You find yourself doing it.
Man, let me think of something I need to tell my boy. Like, man, wait, hold on. I just thought about something. Come in here, boy. Come in here. Now, I don't care what I've been staying with your stinky ass on it. It's like, God, I can't help myself. I got to tell you now, you know?
Yeah.
So his dad says, come into the bathroom. And he lets Craig know that his supervisor called.
Yeah.
Wants him to come into work the next day.
That's another resolution.
So that's resolved there. Then we end. Then second to last scene is Smokey.
Yeah.
Laying on the bed, talking to Big Worm. Right. He says one of my favorite lines. Like they got dealt with. Right. So he's, hey, I got your money.
Yeah.
And Smokey also quits selling weed.
Selling weed.
And he says, you know, I'm gonna go into rehab, and
Right.
then he immediately lights up a joint and says one of the most classic lines ever. I was just bullshitting.
Yeah.
And you know this, man.
Huge line.
Right? And so I remember, like, you know, them kind of the you know, the thing going down. I'm thinking like, okay, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
But then he wraps it all the way up in a tight little ball where the girl calls
Yep.
and says, who you got, blah blah blah, who you messing around with, got people shooting at you, duh.
Yep.
And he breaks up with her. He says, it's over, bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, man, the brother from day one was really writing some good films. And man, okay, this gonna take a tough one right here. You gotta wrap around this one, man.
All right.
I think this movie, as far as like how it was so random throughout, but then came together at the end, I think it's comparable to Pulp Fiction, man.
I would have to agree for its genre. I would definitely agree for its genre. And I would go further to even say that it would be a cult classic in the way that blaxploitation was for the previous generation.
Yep.
Like a cult classic genre.
Right.
Friday is a cult classic film for, I'd say, for our generation, basically.
Yep, because at that time, we were watching 70s stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We was watching the Mac. And one of the things she was saying was, like, can I use your VCR?
Yeah.
I want to dub the Mac, you know, and we were watching Shaft and all that kind of Snoop Dogg did that, like, throwback video and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, come on over, Eli. You know, it's just, at the end of the day, Friday is just a movie that I think was a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I think Chris Tucker, DJ Pooh, Ice Cube, and F. Gary Gray.
Yeah.
I think it was like one of them situations where the stars aligned.
Oh yeah.
They happened up on something, and then the most interesting part about this is the economics of the movie.
Yeah.
Because they could not get a big studio to fund it.
Right. Which is good.
Right. Which is good.
Yeah.
Because they had to do the majority of the funding themselves.
Yep.
I think if this had that gloss on it from, you know, like the big films of the time, it wouldn't have been the same. That's the first thing.
And they wouldn't have let it resolve like that. He probably
Wouldn't
would